Have you ever felt like life is pulling you in 100 different directions? Confusion on one side, temptation on another, fear behind you, and discouragement ahead. You try to do what's right, but something keeps pushing back. You try to stand strong, but the ground beneath your feet shakes. My friend, that's not coincidence. That's a battlefield. And the question we must ask today is this: are we really in a war? The answer is not only yes, it's absolutely yes. But it's not the kind of war that makes headlines or fills history books. It's a war that takes place in the unseen realm, a war that wages within every human heart. It's a conflict between truth and lies, between faith and fear, between light and darkness. You see, the greatest mistake people make today is thinking peace means the absence of conflict. No, peace means standing in the middle of conflict and still having confidence that God is in control. We are not fighting flesh and blood. We are fighting forces that whisper to us, "You're not enough. You'll never make it. You're all alone." And if we don't recognize that voice for what it is, we'll start to believe it. That's why awareness is the first step to victory. When you understand that you are in a war, you stop living like a civilian. You start living like a soldier, focused, disciplined, and ready. Soldiers don't get distracted by every noise in the camp. They know their mission and they stay on it. And here's what makes this battle so dangerous: it's invisible. You can't see it with your eyes, but you can feel it in your spirit. The enemy doesn't attack your body first. He attacks your mind. He attacks your peace. He attacks your hope. He attacks your sense of worth. Because if he can control your thoughts, he can control your life. But here's the good news: you're not fighting alone. You've been given armor, truth that keeps you grounded, righteousness that guards your heart, and faith that shields you from every lie that tries to pierce your soul. You are not defenseless. You are not powerless. You are not forgotten. And let me tell you something powerful. Wars are not won by those who never fall. They're won by those who refuse to stay down. You might be tired. You might be wounded. You might even feel like giving up, but don't you dare quit now. The moment you decide to stand again, that's the moment victory begins. So yes, we are in a war, but it's not a war to be feared. It's a war to be fought. Because the one who stands beside you is greater than the enemy that stands against you. Before you leave this moment, I want to challenge you. Don't just listen to these words. Live them. Examine your life. Ask yourself, where am I under attack? Where am I surrendering ground that belongs to victory? If you keep watching this message, I promise you, your perspective will shift. You'll learn not just how to survive the battle, but how to win it. Because the real power isn't in avoiding the fight, it's in knowing who's fighting for you. Stay with me. The battle is real, but so is the victory. You know, sometimes we walk through life thinking everything we see is all there is. We see people smiling, jobs being done, bills being paid, dreams being chased, and we assume that's the whole picture. But deep down, we sense something more. We sense a struggle that doesn't fit into the ordinary. It's not just the stress at work or the argument at home. It's something deeper, something unseen, a battle that rages in the shadows of the human heart. Let me tell you today, there's an invisible battlefield surrounding you. It's not fought with bullets or swords. It's fought with thoughts, choices, and convictions. Every time you decide between truth and deception, faith and fear, peace and chaos, you're standing right in the middle of that war zone. The enemy doesn't come marching in with noise and banners. He comes quietly, slipping into your thoughts, your doubts, your distractions. He wants you to believe that you're powerless, that life is meaningless, that your effort doesn't matter. But if you could see the spiritual dimension of what's happening around you, you'd realize that your life is part of a far greater story than you ever imagined. The invisible battlefield is where destinies are shaped, where victories are decided long before they ever appear in your circumstances. You see, the war begins in the mind, where lies whisper louder than truth, and fear disguises itself as wisdom. Every temptation you face is a tactic. Every discouraging thought is a dart. Every whisper that says you can't is an arrow meant to pierce your confidence. And the tragedy is, most people don't even know they're in the fight. They think their struggles are random. They think their depression, their anger, their restlessness, it's just life. But it's not just life. It's a war for your heart, your faith, your focus. So I ask you, are you awake to it? Are you aware of what's really happening around you? Because awareness changes everything. When you know there's a battlefield, you stop walking casually through danger. You start standing intentionally in strength. You stop blaming yourself for every struggle, and you start preparing for victory. There is a battle being fought right now in your thoughts, your emotions, your relationships, and whether you realize it or not, you're already on the field. There's something deeply dangerous about the enemy we ignore, because the most effective enemy is not the one who shouts in your face. It's the one who whispers when you're not paying attention. The truth is, we live in a world that's become comfortable with distraction. We scroll through life, filling every quiet moment with noise, every silence with entertainment, every pause with something temporary, and in that very space the enemy hides. He doesn't need to destroy us loudly. He only needs to keep us too distracted to notice what's happening to our souls. You see, the enemy doesn't always come dressed in evil. Sometimes he comes wrapped in comfort. Sometimes he comes wearing success, applause, popularity, or pleasure. He convinces us that if life looks good on the outside, we must be fine on the inside. But the truth is, the battle is never about appearances. It's about allegiance. Who controls your heart when no one is watching? What voice shapes your choices when no one is around to judge you? That's where the enemy works best, in the shadows of your routine, in the quiet corners of your mind. He knows that if he can make you doubt your worth, question your purpose, or delay your obedience, he doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to distract you long enough that you never rise to your calling. And isn't it true that sometimes we let our guard down when life feels safe? When the bills are paid, the family's happy, and the future looks calm, that's when we stop praying with urgency, stop reading with passion, stop watching with awareness. And that's exactly when the enemy moves. He doesn't strike when you're alert. He waits until you're comfortable. He doesn't confront your strength. He exploits your neglect. The reason many people lose battles they never saw coming is because they underestimated the enemy's subtlety. He doesn't need to shout lies if he can whisper half-truths. He doesn't need to drag you into rebellion if he can lull you into complacency. So if life feels too quiet, if everything seems too easy, don't mistake peace for safety. Sometimes the calmest moments are when the enemy is closest, working not to terrify you, but to neutralize you. The greatest danger isn't the attack we see, it's the one we ignore. That's why we need something stronger than willpower, something deeper than emotion. We need armor. Not the kind you buy or polish, but the kind that's forged in conviction, truth, and faith. Because when the battle is invisible, your defense can't be physical. You can't fight a spiritual enemy with human strength. You need the armor of readiness, the preparation that comes from walking in truth before the lie even arrives. Think about it. Soldiers don't wait until the first shot is fired to start training. They prepare long before the fight begins. And that's what many of us forget. We think we'll build faith when the crisis hits, that we'll start praying when the storm comes, that we'll cling to truth when deception shows up. But by then, it's often too late. You don't build armor in the battle, you wear it into the battle. Truth is your belt. It holds everything together. Without it, everything falls apart. When the world screams confusion, truth keeps you steady. When culture shifts its standards every season, truth reminds you who you are and what you stand for. Righteousness guards your heart. You can't let bitterness, pride, or guilt pierce through, because those wounds infect your spirit faster than you realize. Living with integrity isn't about being perfect. It's about staying protected. Every time you choose what's right, even when it costs you, you strengthen that armor around your soul. And faith, it's your shield. Life will throw darts at you, doubt, disappointment, discouragement. But when your faith is anchored, those darts hit and fall harmlessly to the ground. Because faith doesn't stop the battle from coming. It keeps the battle from breaking you. Then there's readiness, the mindset of a warrior who's always prepared. Readiness means you wake up every morning knowing you're stepping onto a battlefield. You expect opposition, so you don't panic when it comes. You're prepared so you don't crumble when pressure rises. The tragedy of our time is not that people are weak, it's that they're unarmed. They have passion but no protection, dreams but no discipline, energy but no endurance. That's why so many fall when the enemy strikes. They were never ready for the fight. But when your heart is armored with truth, your spirit covered with righteousness, and your faith held high like a shield, then you stop reacting in fear and start standing in strength. And once you begin to stand in that strength, something powerful happens. You start to see that victory isn't about how hard you fight, but who you're fighting with. Alignment is everything. You can have all the armor, all the courage, all the passion in the world, but if you're not aligned with the one who gives purpose to the battle, you'll swing your sword in the wrong direction. Many people lose strength not because they lack faith, but because they're fighting battles that were never theirs to begin with. We live in a generation that glorifies independence. I can handle it. I'll fix it myself. I don't need anyone. But the truth is, strength outside of alignment becomes exhaustion. When you fight in your own power, you end up weary, bitter, and confused. But when you align your heart with divine purpose, everything changes. The same storm that once terrified you becomes the very wind that pushes you forward. The same mountain that once looked impossible becomes a platform for your growth. Alignment means surrender, not weakness, but wisdom. It means saying, I don't want to move unless I'm moving in the right direction. It's knowing that success without guidance is just failure in disguise. You might win temporary battles, but you'll lose eternal ground if you fight without the right commander leading you. And let me tell you something, when you are aligned with divine truth, the fight feels different. You stop reacting to every insult, every disappointment, every delay. You stop wasting your energy trying to prove your worth. Instead, you begin to move with confidence because you know your cause is greater than your comfort. You're not swinging wildly anymore. You're striking with purpose. It's amazing what happens when your will lines up with divine direction. Clarity replaces confusion. Peace silences panic. Focus overcomes frustration. That's when you begin to realize that the battle isn't really about defeating others. It's about transforming you. The war was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to shape you into someone who can stand firm and steady no matter what comes. So if you feel like you're fighting alone, maybe it's time to stop asking for more strength and start seeking better alignment. Because power without purpose is chaos, but purpose with alignment, that's unstoppable strength. And when that alignment finally takes root in your spirit, there's one final command that rises above the noise. Stand firm. Don't retreat, don't collapse, and don't surrender your ground just because the pressure increases. The truth is, most people don't lose because they're weak. They lose because they stop standing. The enemy doesn't always need to defeat you. He just needs to convince you to sit down when you should be standing. Standing firm doesn't mean you feel brave every moment. It means that even when fear trembles inside you, your faith doesn't move. It means that when the world shifts around you, you keep your footing planted on what you know is true. You might be outnumbered, misunderstood, or underestimated, but that's when the power of standing shows its strength. The soldier who refuses to yield often changes the outcome of the entire battle. There will be moments when the darkness presses in so close that it feels like you can't breathe. There will be times when prayers go unanswered, when the weight of waiting feels unbearable. But that's when you dig in your heels and declare, I'm not moving from this ground. Because standing is not about convenience, it's about conviction. It's a declaration that says, no matter what I see, I will not abandon what I believe. When you stand firm, you become unshakable, not because the storm gets weaker, but because your roots go deeper. Every attack, every disappointment, every tear becomes another anchor in the soil of endurance. You learn that victory is not always about conquering new ground. Sometimes it's about not giving up the ground you've already taken. And isn't it powerful that when you stand, others find the courage to stand beside you? One person's steadfastness can ignite a chain of strength in an entire generation. Your perseverance becomes someone else's inspiration. Your faith in the fire becomes proof that the flames can't consume those who refuse to bow. So stand firm, not because the fight is easy, but because your purpose is greater. Stand even when the world tells you to run. Stand when fear whispers you'll fall. Stand when every reason to quit seems justified. Because the moment you decide to stand again, that's the moment heaven starts to move on your behalf.